I've known Dharmesh for 20 years now, and I haven't seen him as passionate talking about the approval process, smoothing, making business doing easy, certainly in the state of Maharashtra happen. So that's a good thing that there has been a focus, there has been a coordinated approach, the government is listening to what the real estate developers want, and at least there is an ease of doing business. I won't say that the cost of doing business has gone down, but at least the ease of business and getting in the approvals is starting to happen, and there is more discussion and debate. So 6 good points that have happened. One of the things that both Sanjay and I are accused all the time is that why do we give negative news in the media? And I wanted to bring this slide up front, that why every time there is, I hate to look at the newspaper and wait for Dharmesh's message to come in the morning. Man, what are you doing in this one? So I want to, represent this clearly. Look, media is there for giving bad news. Media, it is our duty to explain what is happening in there. And I got 2 examples. Today's Economic Times. So we did a deal of Birla House. We said is we want to make it big news. Why we wanted to make it big news is because we wanted to tell the end user that if Kumar Mangalam Birla can buy a property of 425 crores in this market, that means it is the right market only to do. So a credible buyer, front page, Economic Times, news printed, very positive. At least the buyer sentiment improves that, that means the market is not bad. Other news that I had promised to Dharmesh, I said is that, we're going to come out with positive news. Sanjay is coming out with positive news, and we've taken it on ourselves. We want to come out with positive news. I've now got glasses in this slowdown, so I need to wear these glasses. So I'll tell you what we gave them and what is the paragraph, the first paragraph, and then I'll read the heading to you. So the first paragraph says is that JLL reports sales have improved in Mumbai by about 20 to 25% in the first half of 2015. And this, along with a drop in new supply, has curtailed the inventory level in the city. And the heading is, reality prices may fall on high inventory. I mean, this is Economic Times of today. So, please understand and appreciate. I'm going to take 2 or 3 more minutes on this slide. Please understand and appreciate what sells is bad news. Now, Sheena Bora case. Every day in the newspaper there is. I think the question that we have to ask is, do we want to become Sheena Bora, or are we being represented as Indrani Mukherjee? Today we're being represented as Indrani Mukherjee. We have to move away from an Indrani Mukherjee and become a Sheena Bora. If you're not going to become a Sheena Bora, you're going to be plastered on the front page by the media for all the wrong reasons. And that is what this graph shows. It is a very sensitive graph. And it's actually quite a painful graph, but I said is it has to be shown to the media. You'll have to voice this out. What this graph shows from 2007, and the black line that you see is the sales. From 2007, we've been plotting the revenues of the real estate industry. And it shows the revenues, how the revenues went down a little bit. 2007, 2008 went up, right up to the 3rd quarter before Lehman crisis happened. Suddenly it went down in 2009. Mid of 2009 it picked up because the prices came down, sales started to happen. 2010, you look at it went up. What has been troubling is in 2013 end, your cost has overtaken the sales. Every product that is being produced today, if you were to look at today's cost price of land, it is running at a loss. It is very, very scary situation. And, as I said, this is what needs to be gone out to the media and says, how can you cut prices? Look at it, how the data is. Your cost has continued to fuel. Your revenues have gone up, down, and it is going downwards. And from 2013, that gap is just widening more and more. So that means that because of your cost of financing, cost of approval, cost of construction, the delays in getting in the approvals, all that is creating that negativity in the losses for every square foot at today's land price. Fortunately for a lot of you in this room, you've got historical land. as a result of which you're taking and you're making profit on that historical land. But if you were to value that land at today's value, it is not making any profit sense. So the question is that why are the prices not dropping? And as I said, the prices are not going to drop because your cost of inputs continue to go up and up and up. And until in economics, if the cost will continue to go up, how will ever a price drop? Because the input cost will continue to go up, as a result of it, the output cost, you can drop it to the extent that you're not going to make profit, but you can't continue to produce new stuff, which is going to be in a loss. So as a result of which, the law of economics will catch up here, that at some stage, you're not going to produce more material, and which is what we've seen in the last 4 quarters, that the new inventory launches have just gone down because people are saying it doesn't make sense for me to buy at today's land value and pay the cost of financing and pay the cost of holding that asset and the cost of construction, and with a reduced selling price, it's just not making sense for me to build new material. One of the questions, and this is a lot of people coming from overseas ask, why are the land prices not falling? And I can tell you, and Sanjay can tell you, is that land prices are not falling. Every bid that we do, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 credible developers coming in and buying that land, and it is continuing to remain, I would say, steady. I would not say that it is continuing to go up, at least steady. But how can that be possible when your selling price is starting to come down and your profitability is reducing? Why is the cost of acquisition of land not going down? And it will not go down. It will not go down until such time that this city puts in infrastructure. Unless the infrastructure is put in, large parcels of land are opened, there is more supply of land, the land will, whatever plot we auction in the market, that is the only plot that the developers want. Because the accessibility to the rest of the land parcels is so poor, it takes hours, there's no sewage, no water, no electrification, no public transport. Nobody wants to buy those land parcels. As a result of which, wherever there is an infrastructure, everybody goes out and bids for it. If you look at cities like Hyderabad, land prices since 2008 haven't gone up. Ahmedabad, land prices haven't gone up. Greater Noida, land prices haven't gone up. Why they haven't gone up is because the city has put in huge amount of infrastructure. It doesn't matter to me. I'll buy a land 5 kilometers away because it only takes me 4 minutes to travel that 5 kilometers. Today in Bombay, it takes half an hour to travel, as a result of which it's a different submarket altogether. So until that infrastructure is put into the city, and hopefully what I hear from Dharmesh with the new CM and the focus on infrastructure, and what I think Nayan Shah has mentioned earlier, that there is going to be a huge amount of thought process and focus on infrastructure in Maharashtra, you're going to see hopefully new land parcels open up and prices of land becoming more realistic. People ask, when is the market going to turn around? I don't have a magic wand, but I can tell you is my thinking is that we're in this space for some more time. I think we're in this space for 18 to 24 months. I don't think this is a 6-month phenomenon. I don't think that the Diwali, we're going to see a huge amount of shake that's going to happen. And why it is not going to happen is because the general economic condition has to improve. Today we are looking at 7.5% GDP, but actually it's a misnomer, because that's a redefinition of a GDP. The GDP, if you were to compare it in the old definition, is only 5% compared to what we're showing at 7.5%. Unless the employment gets more generated, salaries improve, the bank rate of interest starts to drop, and the overall confidence in the economy improves. Hopefully Modi's called up all these industrialists, and he's going to drum up more positivity coming into the industrialists. Until then, it is going to be very difficult for this market to take a turn. And I think you'll have to bear that out, that it is going to be 18 to 24 months before we're going to see any significant improvement in this market. I know it's bad news because some of us are thinking that this is sort of a 6-month phenomenon, 9-month, 12-month. But realistically, I feel is that it is going to be between sort of 18 to 24 months. Just last slide on this. So 2 things that Mayur Shah asked. He said is, one, what is it, which are the new sectors, where should I invest? And I certainly think is affordable housing is a big thing that is going to come in. The trouble with affordable housing is that it is a very different mindset. It is an institutional mindset. It has to be an industrialized. You have to think of it as a process. You can't run the same organization that you're running today on low cost or affordable housing. Affordable housing has to be run through a big process. You can't afford leakages in there. In your usual business, you can afford leakages, you can afford delays, you can afford not following a process. In this, if you don't, the margins are very thin. The margins are going to go away. So unfortunately, if you're going to get into affordable housing, you can do it in the same organization, just like Tata does. Tata has a Nano and it has a Jaguar. You can do that. I'm not saying you can't, but it has to be different teams and different processes that have to be followed. But it is a perennial demand. I mean, there is no end to affordable housing that you can build. The trouble is that you have to get in the organization right to deliver affordable housing. And when the market comes back, remain true to affordable housing. That is not what happened in 2009. Everybody went to affordable housing, market came back, everybody went into luxury and premium, and everybody dropped affordable housing. That's going to be a difficult case if you're going to look at that. The second is the smart cities, 98 smart cities. Definitely, we're doing a fair amount of work at this point in time for the government. I can tell you it is a real venture, and there will be opportunities for developers to come up and do smart cities. I do feel that not everyone will come out of this tunnel on the other side. I think there will be consolidations that will happen. There will be acquisitions. There will be mergers that will happen. It cannot be. Nowhere in the world in a market which is maturing, you have lakhs of developers. There are thousands of developers. We have lakhs of developers. I don't even know, Dharmesh, how many developers would we have in India? But it is, sorry? 11,600 in CREDAI. Just 11,600 in CREDAI, and there will be several sort of fly-by-night, operators in there. And those have to go away, which is the right thing. Because for the perception to change, for the industry, those are the guys. The guys in the room are not the ones who are creating trouble. It is a lot of people who are outside the room who are creating that trouble. So in this 18 to 24 months, if we are able to survive, you're going to see that on the other side, it is going to be much brighter, much nicer, much more consolidated. People who are going to go on to the other side are the only guys who are going to be financially disciplined, will have a corporate governance, will have a very strong client focus, and would have built up the teams. They are the guys who are going to go on to the other side and emerge. And once you emerge on the other side, 18 to 24 months, I can tell you it'll be a smooth race. Because all that weaning would have happened, all that fly-by-night, and people who are irrational would have gone down in there because they would have got consolidated. The last one is really on the pricing, and I'm going to come back to my earlier slide. A lot of people say it's the right time to drop the price and get the sales going. I can tell you it is the wrong time to drop the price at this moment in time. Even if you have an ability to drop the price, it is absolutely the wrong time because you'll drop the price, the sales will not happen. The sales will not happen because of anything to do with real estate. The sales will not happen because at this moment in time, the economic mood and the uncertainty that the salaried employee has is not going to allow him. Because you will drop it by 10%, he'll say, why not 20%? You'll drop it by 20%, why not 50%? In there, this is the beginning of the fall. This is the beginning of the downfall that is going to happen. So I'm saying we've only got one joker in the pack. And that joker in the pack is our ability to bring down the price in the projects where you can bring down that price. Bring that joker out at the right time. Today is certainly not that right time for the joker to be brought out. Thank you very much. That's what I had to say.
I would request Mr. Dharmesh Jain to give the green certificate to Mr. Puri, and he's here right at the moment. So I think
for starters, we are inviting you to run for the MCHI-CREDAI this year.
I would now like to call upon the Executive Managing Director, South Asia, Cushman, Wakefield, Mr. Sanjay Dutt, to present on Mumbai's market scenario on commercial.
Thank you so much and very good evening. Delighted to be here as always. I'm going to deliver the good news. That's what Anuj left it with me. So I'm going to make sure that we do that. And yes, it is true. It is a good news. So short answer is that we will now give you 30,000 additional demands for residential in Thane district. Isn't that a good news? Why did I arrive at 30,000 additional units? Because 6 million square feet of IT space has been committed between TCS, Capgemini, Accenture, and few more IT companies that we're negotiating right now. If you take 100 square feet per person, and that one person who's employed is going to take 1,000 square feet unit, you got your math sorted out. And the reason why some of the sufferings that Anuj highlighted that we are facing, and I totally agree with Anuj, is because somewhere we lost our competitive spirit as Mumbai as a city. And I wanted to present some basic facts across on the screen, which you all know, but basically we forgot about it. So this is the financial and business capital. But is it competitive enough when you see the infrastructure, when you see the pain that the corporates have to face? So that is something that we need to bring it back. Despite all these issues and infrastructure issues, we recently concluded a transaction where the corporate chose to buy 500,000 square feet in Bandra Kurla complex and paid a